Hello, let's talk health. Thank you for joining our community conversation today here on Facebook Live from Live Healthy Miami Gardens. And Live Healthy Miami Gardens is a coalition of 46 member organizations and over 100 individuals working collectively to drive citywide changes that measurably improve the health and life expectancy of people in the great city of Miami Gardens. Today we have the special joy of the presence and expertise of Patrise Tyson, and our topic is about health, exercising, and brain activity. Patrise Tyson serves as sub-investigator on early phase clinical trials, assisting the medical director, in which she manages the day-to-day responsibilities for clinical trials and the assessment of persons and their whole treatment care experience. A past member of or president of the Miami chapter of the Black Nurses Association, where she provided education to minority populations on clinical trials and health issues which disproportionately impact the Black community. Recently, she served as the data manager for keeping the Faith to Fight COVID-19, a grant-funded program initiative by the Health Foundation of South Florida. One very, very, very significant of who Patrise Tyson is. Can I have some drum roll on this, please? She was inducted into the Sigma Theta Chi International Honor Society of Nursing and has been recognized as the 2021 Research Nurse of the Year by the Florida Nurses Association South Region. Welcome, and kindly join me in welcoming Patrise Tyson as we focus our topic today on physical activity and brain functioning. Ms. Tyson, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Great. Let's jump right into our conversation today. Why physical exercise, and what are some of the benefits as it relates to brain activity, brain functioning, whichever it is?
So why physical exercise? That is a good question with so many benefits that we could discuss that we don't have time about. But physical activity, regular physical activity, is one of the best things, one of the most important things that we can do for our overall health. And we're focusing specifically on how it can help us with our brain health. And those benefits are also numerous. Regular exercise has been associated with decreasing risk for depression. And even for those that have been diagnosed with depression, it's actually one of the recognized treatments by the American Psychiatric Association that can be used alone or in conjunction with medications and psychotherapy as well, depending upon the level of depression. But that's how much of an impact and how much evidence that we have that exercise can help us to regulate our moods and to balance our moods. It's also associated with decreased feelings of anxiety. It can help to decrease feelings of stress. And also, it can help us to improve our focus and our concentration. So those are just a few of the benefits for our minds.
And so physical exercise is physical exercise. Or to put it another way, physical exercise is a matter of keep on moving.
And
Um, a couple of years ago, I remember someone saying something like, the body was made for movement.
exactly.
And that is a hugely, just a little bit more about physical activity here. Um, could you comment, that physical activity has to do with, you know, building the body, keeping the body functioning, the body chemicals in balance, or keep producing the necessary uh, chemicals, just to maintain health, good health.
Yes. Speaking of chemicals, when we participate in physical activity, we release our what we call our feel-good chemicals, also known as endorphins. An example of a couple of those are serotonin and dopamine. And we talked earlier about how exercise can help us regulate our mood, and serotonin is one of those chemicals that helps regulate the mood in the brain, as well as dopamine. That's one is associated with our pleasure when we have feelings of pleasure or we feel like we're getting a reward. So those are two benefits of exercise from the chemical perspective. Also, when we're talking about um, aging and aging healthfully, physical activity helps to maintain our muscle mass so that we can maintain strength as we age. It also helps us to maintain our mobility so that we can continue to be active. So those are two significant benefits.
In which physical activity um, helps also to, the flip of what you've just said, it helps to ward off or delay diseases, or even if I have, something like high blood pressure or diabetes, physical exercise helps to keep uh, all of that in check, would you say?
Yes, for those that do not have any disease, it can help to reduce the risk factors for high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes. And even for those that have those conditions, it's part of managing those conditions. And another significant thing that physical exercise can decrease the risk from with aging is actually the cognitive decline or the onset of dementia. The studies have shown that those that engage in regular physical activity, even if they have the genetics for it, for example, somebody they have a parent or a grandparent that might have it, so we know that they're at genetic risk for having dementia. However, the regular exercise can actually delay the onset of that dementia.
And so, what that physical exercise is hugely, hugely, hugely important, and it has significant benefits uh, all around. Now, our specific topic this evening has to do with physical activity uh, as it relates to the brain, and the aging process. Am I getting that? Am I getting those words connected? Proper sequence. Would you? What did you say? What would you say about that?
So, well, I just mentioned that there's been studies that show that you can delay the onset of dementia with a regular physical activity program. And one of the things that happens with aging is that the brain can actually start to lose volume. It can get smaller. And they've seen for a normal healthy person over the age of 60, they can lose volume in the area of the brain called the hippocampus, and that one is associated with learning and memory. It's very important for those functions. That area of the brain can lose volume at a rate of about 1 to 2% a year. However, they found that doing aerobic exercise can increase the volume of this hippocampus by that same 1 to 2%. So in effect, canceling out that age-related volume loss of the brain, which then is associated with maintaining normal cognitive function with the aging process. They've also found that exercise can promote what is called neurogenesis, and that is the growth of new brain cells. Also, even the connections between the nerve, how they communicate with each other with their connections called the synapses. Regular physical activity helps to keep those communication pathways healthy and working properly.
This morning I jumped out maybe about 6:30, 6:45. It was nice and cool. There was a gentle wind blowing. That's my kind of weather. And I did my stretching, and then I started walking. Is there a particular routine that you could suggest for, that I should have engaged? A kind of, like stretching or any other kind of, some type exercise that I should pay attention to?
Yes, well, the fact that you mentioned walking is excellent, because when we talk about exercise, a lot of people kind of get apprehensive and they think they have to go out and run a marathon, but just walking alone and walking at a brisk pace has significant benefits. And that was one of the things that they looked at in studying the regular physical activity that was associated with delaying the onset of the dementia, was actually walking counts for that. And walking also, a regular walking routine can give the benefits that we discussed earlier of helping to manage or prevent high blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes. So that's huge. And I also want to mention that for anyone that might be feeling overwhelmed with other kind of exercises, that's a good place to start. And that's something that is accessible to the majority of people, and something that the majority of people are able to do. So don't feel discouraged if you want to start exercising and get the health benefits. Walking is an excellent place to start, and it has those benefits. Aside from that, we want to focus on any type of aerobic exercises. Aerobic means with oxygen. So these are the kind of exercises that you can do over an extended period of time. Your heart rate is going to increase. You probably will be breaking a sweat and breathing heavier. But that aerobic exercises with oxygen. So our body takes in the oxygen, and that gives us the fuel to move the muscles.
As I started walking, or soon after I started walking, I felt more motivated, more energized. And the more I walked, is the greater that feeling, or maybe the word is sensation. What was happening there? What was going on with me? Help me to understand, please.
Well, we talked a few minutes ago about the endorphins. Those are our feel-good chemicals that can get released when we engage in physical activity. So you might have had a serotonin boost that helps to regulate your mood, maybe to help you, and your dopamine might have been helping you to feel even more motivated as you started to feel that cool breeze that you like. That could have been like maybe your reward for your walk, and then you were motivated to continue.
Yeah. I found that I wanted to keep walking, but I had a schedule to keep. So I was able to get maybe about 20 minutes in walking. Is that helpful? Is 20 minutes, or should it be less, or should it be more? What's the recommended time span on this?
So the Centers for Disease Control, they recommend 150 minutes of moderate intensity exercise every week. And it does not have to all be at once. So that 20 minutes is good. And what we find out, so many people are sedentary. We sit around a lot all day. So even if you don't have a whole hour to devote at one time or a whole 30 minutes to devote at one time, just breaking it up in little spurts still counts, and it's still very beneficial. And some of the little suggestions I say for people that are very busy, or even if you just feel like you can't go out to exercise, even if you, for example, you have a favorite television program that you like to watch on the commercial break, you can walk in place during the commercial break or do 10 squats or every little bit helps.
Patrice, you're saying that the point, the illustration connection is, during the commercial breaks, I can stand up and get some physical activity in.
Correct. That counts.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, that counts towards your 150 minutes. And even things such as some of the housework that we have to do is pretty moderate in intensity, right? Depending, maybe you're sweeping and mopping the floor, that's physical activity. If you go to the grocery store, you park a little further away, you're getting in some extra steps, or you take the stairs somewhere. All of that counts as towards your physical activity goals.
No, when I'm watching whatever television and there's a break, my favorite physical activity is to walk to the refrigerator or to the food pantry and do what we all do. To collect whatever, and come back and sit and continue. Okay. I'm not going to go down that far. I want to get back to the brain activity or the impact on the aging of the brain. If I understood what you said earlier on, that the aging process continues. It never stops. And that over time there is brain, did you say brain loss, or is it a loss in the brain capacity, or what is it that remind me, what is it that is I'm losing with time here as I age?
The actual volume of our brain, or the size of it, can get smaller. Yes.
Inactivity causes the brain to shrink. Is that?
In essence, in a nutshell, yes. It's those that do not participate in regular physical activity have been noted to have that progressive, it's very small, but progressive decrease in the actual size of their brain with aging.
And I wonder if that has anything to do with aging and loss of memory.
Exactly, because remember the hippocampus, that is one of the areas that we discussed that they found even in normal healthy people can decrease at 1 to 2% a year. So if that is getting smaller, then yes, you would expect eventually that you could see some changes in memory.
But following that reality experience, that I can go back, I can pick up, I can continue at whatever point or stage and do the physical activity, and that the brain will recoup its losses. Is that a reasonable way of thinking?
Yes, the aerobic exercise, remember that's the kind where we're gonna where the heart rate will go up, the breathing rate will increase. That is the exercise that has been shown to increase the volume of the hippocampus, which is our memory center.
So,
As long as the dementia has not, for those that already have dementia, they have not seen those same increases. But for those that do not, that's where the increase has been seen, and that's where the benefit of being able to delay the onset of dementia is seen.
do you mind? I'd like to ask. Could you comment? What is dementia?
So there's different forms. One of the forms that I'm sure most people have heard of, probably Alzheimer's.
Yes.
So is the functioning, the executive functioning of our brain, our higher level thinking starts to decrease, memory starts to decrease. And it is an epidemic among our Black community. We're seeing it at very high rates and disproportionate rates compared to other ethnicities.
Yes, yes. As a matter of fact, thank you so much for sharing, commenting on that, because I, over the years, have seen and am still seeing that dementia continues to increase significantly, or in many more persons in our Black and brown community, and it is a grave and a great concern, which makes this conversation again so very, very important. The sooner we take physical exercise, physical activity, and sustain it, you would say, continue, or if it's important.
Yes, and it's the consistency, that's what's key here. So we're talking about, on a regular basis, getting those 150 minutes in of your aerobic exercise. Also, we haven't talked about anaerobic exercise yet, because the CDC, they also recommend at least 2 days of some type of strength training exercise. So that could be lifting actual weights, or it could be lifting your own body weight with something maybe like push-ups, some type of calisthenic exercise where you're actually working to strengthen your muscles. And the anaerobic exercise also has some benefits for the brain, in particular. So we talked about the aerobic exercise. The anaerobic exercise, so if aerobic, that means with oxygen, anaerobic is without oxygen. So this anaerobic exercise, your body uses glucose, which is like our blood sugar. It uses that to fuel the muscles and make energy so that we can do the workout. So there is no oxygen being used during that. And these are short, intense bursts. Like I said, if you get some dumbbells and do some dumbbell curls with that, or if you're going to do some push-ups, things that we do for a short period of time. For the anaerobic exercise and the strength training, they found that helps to increase what is called our executive functioning, and that is the area, our thinking that's associated with problem solving, when we have to multitask, when we need to concentrate on a specific task and have focus. Also, that helps increase our working memory. What that is, for example, you need to remember something short term, like if you go to a dinner and somebody new is sitting at your table, you remember their name throughout the evening as you talk to them.
Wonderful. Earlier on we cited, we're talking about physical activity, we're talking about exercises, and for me to recognize that there are different kinds of exercises or physical activity. I mentioned walking. There may be, swimming, jogging or cycling. But whatever it is to get up and do it.
Exactly. The best one is the one that you're going to be able to commit to and do on a regular basis.
And then those are the aerobic type exercises.
Exactly.
And then the anaerobic, is that
Correct.
which has to do with strengthening, the muscles, and therefore using a dumbbell.
And again, even the anaerobic, for those that might be interested in looking to get into it, don't be overwhelmed, because even now they have like the resistance bands, the bands that you kind of pull on. So, that's not quite as strenuous as if you have a barbell and loading up weights on it. So that's something that might be more accessible to somebody that's interested as a beginner, and you're still be able to build strength that way.
And also the aerobic and the anaerobic to be done continuously and to be done in balance, and it helps brain functioning, which is related in our conversation here. And all of this does contribute or affect or determine mood. Could you again, comment on that, please?
Yes. As a recap, we discussed that regular physical activity releases endorphins, which are affiliate chemicals. An example of that is the serotonin, which helps to stabilize our mood. So you have regular physical activity associated with maybe associated with decreased risk of depression, and can even be used as a treatment to those that might have depression, decreased feelings of anxiety, decreased feelings of stress. And also we have the dopamine that gets released, which makes us feel like we're having a reward or pleasure.
So all of this, while it may have to do with weight management or even weight loss, the point here is that the physical activity impacts brain activity. And, for me to keep in balance those two, between the physical and the brain activities, there's a real connection, correlation, which lends itself to the quality of life.
Absolutely.
As I go along, and that quality here, has to do with mood or mood setting, or I can take and I can take some control of my mood, is what I hear you saying here.
Yes.
Well, thank you so very, very much for this conversation here on Live Healthy Miami Gardens Facebook Live. I thank you to Patrise Tyson for being here with us in this section, this segment, to talk about again, exercising or physical activity, and how it contributes to the health of our brain, or the more healthy functioning of our brain, and our whole life, experience as we continue forward. Any last words of wisdom? Microphone is yours, Patrise.
Yes. I say, when in regards to physical activity, where there's a will, there's a way. So get creative, find something that you enjoy doing, and use it to help improve your health.
One very special gem is that even if you're sitting sedentary, as we live our lives mostly sedentary, you can get up and you can do something on the spot, which is another way of being creative. Just keep on keeping on. Thank you so much again. You've been on before, and here you are, and looking forward to having you in the future. Thank you so very much. And thanks to Patrise Tyson for being with us in this segment, this section, today's presentation from Live Health in Miami Gardens in the great city, of Miami Gardens. Thank you and goodbye.